Welcome to For Fresno. My name is Gordon, and this is a podcast about what the church is for, not what the church is against. And you can check out all our podcasts at forfresno.com. Today on the show, I have the pleasure of speaking with Andrea Evans, the CEO of Valley Teen Ranch, otherwise known as VTR. Andrea began her career with VTR in 2003 with a Bachelor's of Science in Criminology. Her goal was to work at VTR and pursue a career in law enforcement. However, after working as a childcare worker, Andrea fell in love with the ranch. The motto at the time was building young lives, and Andrea knew then that VTR was where she wanted to stay. She became a social worker, a ranch program coordinator, assistant director of operations, and now the CEO. Let's jump into the conversation. Welcome to For Fresno. We got another great episode for you today. Today, we are meeting with the CEO of Valley Teen Ranch, Andrea Evans. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you because it's not often that we know what's going on through our entire city. We know bits and pieces, and your organization is something that I've heard of, but I don't know exactly all the things that you do. And that's partly what this podcast is for us, me, and the audience to figure out what is going on in Fresno, because we are all for Fresno. We want a better humanity, better our city. And so I get to learn just as much as our audience today, and I'm excited about that. So again, you're the CEO of Valley Teen Ranch.
Yes.
And first of all, just tell us a little bit about what Valley Teen Ranch is, who you reach out to, and what you hope to accomplish.
Yeah, so Valley Teen Ranch, we've been around for over 30 years. Most people that actually know about us see a sign on Avenue 12 in Madera that they drive by that says Valley Teen Ranch. They think it's either a ranch for teens. They're not really sure, but that's how they know about us. So we started off actually from a group for Youth for Christ in the 1980s. They had an idea of they were working in the Fresno County Juvenile Hall, and they saw that there was such a big need for kids to go somewhere after they left there that just still needed that extra little bit of help and care. And so that's kind of when Valley Teen Ranch was formed. They built their first home and opened in 1986 for a group home for 10 boys. And at the time they had, it was a house parent model. So we had parents that lived there. They lived there with their kids. And then they would kind of switch off. Yeah. So their kids grew up there. We actually have currently still one staff member who he and his wife started as house parents, had their children there, and now one of his sons works with us as well. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
It's very awesome. I think everybody just, it's having a heart for kids. So they started growing it, and now we have 3 homes on 80 acres. There's horses out there. We have a football field, the basketball area. We have baseball. We've got a huge ropes course, and the entire goal out there is really to help kids who have they're either coming from juvenile hall, they're coming from social services, and they just need some extra help. We're seeing a lot more kids with mental health needs, substance abuse, heavy gang involvement. As we grew, we were noticing, some of our kids didn't have a place to go once they completed our program. And so we opened up a foster family agency as well. And so that was just, we had, parents that were taking kids right from the ranch after they left us and kind of just becoming that family for them until either they were able to reunite with their family. As we have obviously grown with that, we help tons of kids now from all age, 0 all the way up through 18 years old.
Wait, how long would they stay at the ranch typically before they were fostered or adopted?
Yeah, so our program is typically 6 to 12 months. Okay. When we first started, it was a little bit longer. We typically had them from 12 to 18 months. So time has decreased as we're really trying to get them back in that home-like environment as soon as we can. Yeah. As we're just keep seeing the need growing and growing for different things for our kids back in, up until about 10 years ago, when you turned 18 in foster care, that was kind of it for you. Your support left. You didn't have, if you were in a foster home, that was gone. If you were in a group home, that was gone. And we would literally see kids end up homeless very soon because their whole, support systems were gone. So
Wow,
we opened, and it's just, I mean, literally, I remember one kid when he left, he called us and I'm underneath the bridge and I don't know what to do. And it's, that's just the most heart, just crushing thing that you could have happen to any of our kids. It's just like you work so hard and they're so stable and you're ready to set them out and there's no place to go. So we opened up a transitional living home that is for homeless youth. And, luckily, as things have changed, there are now different services for foster youth up to age 21 now. So now we're just there for, kids that are homeless that either got kicked out of their home or, all kinds of different family type situations. And so we also have our transitional living home. And then we opened an adoption agency as well, so we can create those forever families. Yeah. So, we're just really trying to look at, what can Valley Teen Ranch do to be help to any child, youth, a family that is in need. And those are the areas that we're just really trying to focus on to make sure that, we're meeting our mission. We're there to provide hope to children and youth. And, that is our entire goal, is that, every kid lives in a safe and healthy home environment.
Yeah, that's really encouraging. So just to recap for that, so there's an adoption part, there's a foster part, there is a on the grounds living.
Yeah, it's a residential treatment facility.
Okay, yeah, and then the transitional.
Yes.
So like you said, you cover from 0 to 18 and kind of beyond then.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Up through 24. And so it's just, our whole goal is how can we make sure these kids are the most stable, have the most help, and they're set up for success. They can see their future. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. Well, how did you get a part of this? And what I mean by that is I ask this question often to our guests because it's the name of the show. What are you for? Like, we all have something deep inside of us where we're for something. And it sounds like you're for kids. And I don't know if you started there or you didn't, but tell us a little bit about that and what are you for to help better humanity?
Yeah. So this has never been my, as I say, my end game. This is never, I saw for myself as, as I was growing up, as I was going to college, I actually wanted to be a police officer. I wanted to be, my uncle was a police officer. Yeah. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be like, Magnum PI. I mean, Hunter, like all of that's what I wanted to do. And so that's what I went to school to do. I have my, my degree is in criminology, and I finished school a little sooner than I expected. And, it takes a while to get onto academies. And so, of course, hey, I'm done with college. I need a real job. And I had heard of Valley Teen Ranch from a friend of mine that had done his internship out there. And I saw it on the job board and I'm like, this sounds like fun. Let's see what this is. And so I started off at the ranch and working with the kids out there. And honestly, I just fell in love with it. I found that, this is really where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to do, I kind of saw a different way of helping people and fell in love. So I started literally right out of college. I left for a little bit because I thought, how else can I help kids? And I thought, I'm going to become an attorney and I'm going to help them in that way. There's just these different ways. And so I went to paralegal school for a little bit and was helping
Did you start the police pathway training at all, or did you just jump from Valley Teen Ranch to I don't want what happened there?
Yeah, how'd that? So it was back in 2003, 2004, and there was that hiring freeze that happened, and so I was going through, passed the test, doing all of that. I've actually had a couple different times where I had the opportunity, and it was honestly right before I came back after I just finished paralegal school, and I realized this is not what I want to do. I'm just not feeling that passion that I was hoping I would feel from, doing that side of things. Yeah. And I applied to be a correctional youth counselor at CYA. And so I'm like, hey, this is going to give me that, again, hands-on work with kids that are really at the highest need, that highest level. went through the entire process, got the job offer, and I think it was like 2 weeks until I was supposed to show up. And I got a phone call from one of my friends that was a social worker out at the ranch. And he said, "Hey, I have an opportunity. I'm getting ready to leave, but I think you would be great for this position."
Oh.
And so I just was kind of, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. I just kind of prayed on it. I immediately picked up the phone and called Connie, who was the CEO at the time, and said, "Connie, I know that kind of it's drop dead time, but is there any way you would be open to me still applying for the job?" And she said, "Absolutely. Can you come in on Monday?" So I did. Wow. And I, went in and just felt immediately again at home. Like this has, I never was separated from the ranch during that time. I had, my, friends, lifelong friends that worked there would still in connection. So I knew what was going on, and it just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. So I came back as a social worker. And just fell in love with it. And as things just kind of kept growing, as a organization and as a program, there was our director at the ranch at the time who he was getting ready to move on, and he was just kind of talking to me about, is this something you think you would want to do? And, just kind of really poured into my heart. And I ended up taking over for him after he left as the program director. And it was just a very different side of things where I got both my kid fix, as I call it, because you get to, you're working with the kid. Yeah. It's like you're working with the kids, you're working with their parents, you're working with their probation officers or their social workers to get them, whatever their need was. Is it going back home? What is it that they, so I got that. But then I also really got to work a lot with our staff on the program level, as far as, what services are offering, are we offering? What can we do more of? What can we do better of? How can we do this? So it was just like that really great balance. And I, love that as well. As time went on, like I said, Connie was, she was at the ranch or at Valley Teen Ranch. She's the one who built all of the programs she came in year 2, literally. We had one CEO before her, which was Dave Purvis, and he stepped down. She took over and she built, the ranch to 3 homes. She built the foster family agency, adoption agency, transitional living home. This was, kind of her vision.
Yeah.
And, but she was ready to retire. And so they started, as a board looking for, who's going to take over for Connie. I mean, if anybody knows Connie, nobody could just step into Connie's shoes. And, so they looked, they had a couple different plans, and they were getting ready to do a big search. And they just asked her, is there anybody you feel like can maybe take over for you and do, maybe would want to step into this role? And so she talked to me about an idea of becoming the assistant director of operations and what that might look like as far as, kind of working under her to see if being the next CEO would be a good fit for us.
Yeah.
And so, and it was a family decision. I mean, that taking on that role would be, it was me leaving the ranch. It was me learning more about all of the other programs we offered. Yeah. Because I was, yes, like I was very ranch focused. That's what I did my entire career. And so, I really did. I just had to pray on it. And is this something I knew it would take me away from the kid part of things? And so I just had to, pray on it, talk to my husband about it. And he was like, yes, you're doing this. Go for it. You're, you are doing this. This is going to be great for you. You're ready. And so it was a big transition. That's kind of what we looked at in our strategic plan to build the organization. So I went up to the assistant director of operations, and we promoted up 5 other people at that time to kind of take over spots to get ready for Connie retiring. Yeah. And so when it was time, the board, I interviewed and I accepted, and now we're rocking and rolling with it. So, and it's just, the hardest part when I tell people my favorite job ever was being the social worker. I will that was just, that's just your feel good. You're getting to work with the kids, but it has been more of I have a bigger opportunity to help more kids and more families in this because I can help drive our vision. And that's kind of really where my role is just really to drive the vision of Valley Teen Ranch. And how do we do that better and bigger and more? And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about that more because, that's a great story and transition. And even when you talked about your husband, I noticed he's working there too. So you get to be his boss a little bit, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, which again, not the plan. So, right. And that is kind of a funny thing. He and I worked at the ranch together for a couple of years. We were friends. That was it. I left and then we started dating after that. And so by the time I came back, he actually, he is the program director for our transitional living home. And he does that as his mission and his passion. But he actually works for Fresno State. That's his,
Oh, cool. Yeah,
that's his real job. And he does a transitional home just for his passion and his love of kids. So
we'll have to get him on the show too sometime to talk about some of his experiences.
Oh, yeah. He would love that. He would love that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you talked a little bit about what Valley Teen Ranch does and who you impact. And I think we understand how that does impact Fresno and families and communities. But why specifically is this so important that Valley Teen Ranch exists? I mean, without it, what would happen? And would systems work fine? Would they break down? Like, why is it so important that Valley Teen Ranch stays going?
So, Valley Teen Ranch is a part of it is a continuum of care. That's kind of what we look at it. You look at the news all the time and you see horrible things happening in our city. You see the violence, you see kids that are getting hurt. And, that's what we're there for. We are there on the back end to help support those kids and those families at their darkest and hardest of times. And, why we have expanded and doing so many things is because we want to be able to help in any area that we can. And so if you look at kids that, their parents have made some poor choices, have gotten themselves into trouble, have maybe hurt their child, we're there. We have our parents, our resource parents who are there to take those kids in at, a very scary time in their lives. I mean, imagine being ripped from your home, and for kids, it doesn't really matter what parents do to them. They love their parents. And so being ripped out of your home where, we might look at it as an unsafe and scary environment, and this isn't, and it's not okay but they've lived it. That's all they've known. And our parents and our social workers and our FFA, they're there to take care of those kids, to help them feel safe, to help them get extra services. If it's mental health services, if it's, just getting healthy, going to the doctor, going to the dentist, making sure that all of those types of needs are met, and being their true advocate, working with their biological parents to help them, be safe for their child, how to become a parent. And our resource parents are often mentors to the biological parents to help them, get reunified, and they're working together as a team.
Are
some
parents
of our
receptive to that, like in that way, or how does that happen?
It depends on the parent. We have had, there's a couple that just comes straight to my mind they were there to be their foster parents. And their role as a, resource family, a foster parent, is to take care of the child while parents are trying to take care of themselves. And they became a huge mentor to the child's mom, where once the child was able to reunify with mom still called them for help and support when she needed it, because they became a safe place for mom to call them when she still needs help, and it's not very often. There are other parents who, of course, you have my child. I don't want you to have I want my baby. Right, I want my child. And so those relationships are very hard. But I think as the parents realize what the main goal is of our resource parents is to help them get their child back, and they're just taking care of their baby in that meantime, you can see some really excellent communication happening. They do, they're called child and family team meetings, where everybody comes together to talk about what is best for the child, what do they need, and it's very cool. I mean, I've been in a meeting where the bio mom was saying, I am so grateful for them because they're keeping my child safe. I know that my child loves them, and I am just so grateful for them. And I want to make sure I am supportive of them as well, because, kids have a hard time. So they start acting out, having a lot of behaviors. And so they almost became a team together to make sure that the children were safe and that they were being taken care of, and they were doing what they needed to do while the mom was doing what she needed to do. So it's pretty, those moments are, they just fill you up with joy, and that's why we do what we do there,
Well, and I think something that kind of sticks out to me for a lot of this to work, there's a certain level of humility that everybody needs to have. And just talking to our audience out there now, I understand that, life is crazy, life is busy, and we want to feel like we have it all together. And we've had other conversations on the show with people who are therapists, and just a reminder that no one is perfect.
Right.
We all are a community. We need help. We were designed to interact with people. We were designed to get help. And sometimes we're in situations where are out of our control, and it's scary. Yeah. And so for the parents listening, there is no shame in asking for help, especially with organizations. There's no shame in, teaching your kid that, as a community, there's resources out there that can help us. And so I hope that parents hear what we're saying, and, it's all for the betterment. It's all to move forward and to be more united and to be a better family unit.
Yes.
So I think that's really
it takes a village, right? I mean, and I think that's just kind of the way that, you really have to look at it as a parent. It takes a village to raise children. And, the kids that we are typically working with are now generations on generations of, drug usage, poverty, gang involvement. And so it is their parents and grandparents that are, some of them are so open to help because they know that, and they want to do better. They just have never been taught how. So it's like, we're all about teaching you how to do something different. And if we can give you different skills and different, just experiences that, we're hoping to kind of help them grow out of that and see that they can have a different life, and give them that hope that they are looking for, that things can be different for them. Yeah,
no, that's fantastic. Okay. So we've talked a lot about what Valley Teen Ranch is, and I learned a lot, and just sitting there listening the whole time, I was like, yeah, that's cool. I have a better idea. But for those who want to help and get involved, let's talk about what we can do. Obviously, we talked about the 4 things up front. You have adoption, you have residential living, you have foster care, and you have transitional living.
Yeah.
And so those are maybe some ways to immediately help, but not everyone's going to be adopting kids all the time.
No.
And so I just want to open up the floor to you with, what are a few things that we can do or that you need help with at Valley Teen Ranch?
Yeah. And I think you're right. Number one, we always need resource parents who are willing to, open their home to children and youth in their greatest time of need. But like you said, not everybody can do that. That takes, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of training. But that's always our greatest need. That's number one.
Yeah. And by the way, I have a friend who has gone through the process, and they really loved it, or really enjoyed it. Valley Teen Ranch was at their top of their list.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So anyway, for those who are listening, just make sure you talk to Andrea, or however you want to get involved, and if that's what you're looking to do. So.
Yeah. We could also use, like I said, we've been around for over 30 years. So we are opening up a campaign called Adopt a Room, just so we can get our rooms redone. They've been used and abused by over 1,500 kids throughout the years. And so we need paint, we need carpet, we need new beds, we need, sheets, blankets, because we want to make it a homey environment. So that's number 2.
I just had a quick, sorry to stop you again.
No, you're good.
Quick vision of 3 houses being lived in by 1,500 kids and all the work you have to do to clean it. Pillow fight, holes in walls. Furniture with legs coming off. I can
and that's
see how
just it. They are hard on everything. So that's kind of like our next, we've got to do. We want to make it a homey, great place for them. We're also just, looking for people that want to help in any way that they can. Some people are really good with woodworking, and we always could use some extra hands out there. And there's also other ways, if you're interested, we have tons of options. If you go online to valleyteenranch.org under volunteers, and there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can help us out. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So it sounds like for those who want a long-term commitment and to be involved in kids' life, there's opportunities, but for those who maybe don't have the time to build relationships, unfortunately, because we're busy or something happens where we just can't always be there, it sounds like there's opportunities to get involved where, either financially or through resources or
in-kind giving. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's good. Okay, we'll put that in the show notes and make sure that people have an opportunity to contact you. So
great.
Andrea, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. If there's anything in our conversation that you were thinking that you wanted to say that we didn't get to, I want to give you the floor to tell our audience just anything else about Valley Teen Ranch.
I think I talk about the work that we do, but, talking about the staff that actually do the work. Our staff are, I always say, Valley Teen Ranch has the best staff in the world. They are the most committed, loving. They're always here for the right reasons, and they're there for our kids. They're there for our families. So many of them are, they work 40 hours a week, but I know that they're checking in on the kids all the time. They're calling them, after they leave the program. The kids are still, calling us and thanking us. Talked to Connie just the other day, and she was meeting up with our first graduate of the program. And, he still is around and keeps in touch with her because he's just so grateful of everything that Valley Teen Ranch was able, to do for him.
When did that happen?
Which part?
The graduation part, like how long ago?
Oh gosh, 30 years ago.
30 years ago. Okay, right. So that
he was literally our first graduate.
Cool.
And he's doing awesome. And we get those calls all the time. And I think it's just really awesome to hear how much we are, helping kids. We had an 18-year-old adopted. And that you don't get to see that happen, but those are the things that we're really wanting to do. And it's a lifelong connection for us. It's not just, you're in our foster home. We're always going to be there for you. They know how to pick up the phone and call us. And there's still somebody there that was there when they were here. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow, that's cool. That's exciting to hear. Well, I'm excited for the work you guys are doing. I hope a lot of people can contact you and get involved, and you can just help a lot of kids' lives. That's an amazing work that you guys are doing up. And I learned a lot just talking to you about what Valley Teen Ranch is, and maybe we'll get you or your husband on the show again. You can update us more in the months to come about how things are going.
Yes, that would be great. I'd love it.
Cool. Well, thank you for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.
Great. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Well, like I said, I didn't know Valley Teen Ranch that well, but now I do, and it was great having Andrea on the show. Andrea, thank you for joining us. If you were moved by what Andrea spoke about and want to help Valley Teen Ranch make a greater impact in the Valley, you can email her at andrea.evans@valleyteenranch.org. That's andrea.evans@valleyteenranch.org. And as always, if you want to thank our guests, you can send them a digital thank you. You go to our website at forfresno.com, click on the episode, and let them know how much you appreciate them. I want to give a big shout out to our listeners. Thank you for watching and listening to our podcasts. Please subscribe, like, rate, review, all the things you can do to continue to help us getting the word out. We truly appreciate it. Well, next week we have a stellar conversation with the Executive Director of Evangelicals for Social Action, Alan Doswald. He discusses how ESA has made an impact in Fresno over the last 40 years. You don't want to miss it. And remember, you matter, your impact matters, because you are the church, and we're here to serve our city.